Hello, welcome to the Black Vibe Podcast. It's the Jeff and Josh show. Returns for some odd reason.
Yep, the Jeff and Josh show.
Blame Alan.
Blame Alan and blame other people who are like, nah, I got more important shit to do than this lame podcast. And we go, yeah.
To be fair, we tried. We tried, listener. We tried.
We tried to, bargaining and then try to, just
we tried putting we offered Shane a dildo. It don't work.
No, we actually put like a whole bunch of like fast food under a box right next to the podcast room, and no one bought it, which is surprising. Like, I mean, I would go for that shit, and I'm somehow in this podcast every time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe that's why I'm in this podcast. I always go for the fast food out of the box.
Yeah. Anyways. Welcome to the podcast. This week on the Black Mind Podcast, we had some shit hit the fan. Like Overwatch. I had Popeye chicken. I feel very fat. Terrible.
I actually finished Rusty Trails.
Mm-hmm. And I have to remove a topic now because it would not make sense in this thing. I'm going to replace it with this topic.
Dildos?
Trump talks to video game execs.
Really?
Yep. So,
what could he what type of input could he possibly have?
I have no idea, but I think he wants to. Anyways, let's not talk about that right now. Josh, you played Rusty Trails.
Yes, actually, I gotta make sure I say the name right because last week I fucked it up real hard, or at least the week before or whatever. And did I uninstall it or is it still on here? Hold on. On Rusty Trails. That's the name of the game. So I actually finished on Rusty Trails, and it's really neat. And it does the term I used before is spreading the gameplay peanut butter as far as you can, and whatever mechanic you have, like in Mario, like any Mario game or any really good platforming or even Metroid to a degree of like, hey, here's this new piece of tool. We're going to use it in every facet possible. Then we're going to give you something new. Then, hey, don't worry about that. Here's this other thing you can use in conjunction with that other thing or whatever. And on Rusty Trails, if you remember from before, is a mechanic of you can switch the character. You can at first you can just do typical platforming. You can run up the side of walls. You can go upside down on the roof of the walls, type of thing. But there's another mechanic of if you're to give you like this mechanic about I think halfway through the first world, you start switching your character from this red robotic dude to this blue monster, and the platforms fade in and out of existence when that happens. So depending on the platforms, you'd be like, oh, I'm Blue Monster. I got to make sure I'm on these special trails that are full of greenery so I can stay on it. Or you hit the button again and go, okay, I got to make sure I'm on the trails where there's nothing but metal beams and shit that are all red. So I make sure I jump on those and not fall through the world. And so basically I've finished the entirety of the game. And I say like it's pretty neat game. I like it. I can see a whole lot of potential for like, speed running the shit out of this game, getting like real good at it. But at the same time, this game does have some pitfalls of the typical, difficulty spikes and shit that you would like, I guess would typically happen on an indie game. Just simply because like
just the polish isn't there.
Yeah, the polish is just not quite there. Like, it's really decent and really solid foundation of like this mechanic works and it's fine. And if you get good enough with it, you can do a whole bunch of weird tricks with it. But it does get to a couple of points in the game where you have to like kind of memorize the levels to the degree where you're like, okay, I have to switch here, switch off, jump onto this, switch on, switch off, get onto that, jump over here and switch just right so I get through this platform, but not really through the platform, so this platform doesn't shoot out so I can get on this other platform, then walk up the wall, and it kind of just gets to a point of like,
it's Super Meat Boys times 11, let's say.
Yeah, because like Meat Boy is just all about, hey, just get good at platforming, just get good at it, and maybe a little floatiness here and there, just so you can, you can glide wherever you want, and you can as long as you're holding the jump button and the run button. But then on Rusty Rails, it's more of like you have to switch on and off in order to get on these platforms that are on or off, and I played games before way back in the day that had this type of mechanic, and it always kind of like difficulty spikes within fucking third level in, because you're like, oh fuck, I have to like change again in order to just get through this. That's fucking bullshit. On Rusty Rails is a little easier than that. Like, at least they did play test a fair bit of it, but there's a few points where you're like, oh fuck, I have to change like 3 times in the air before I hit the ground again. It's like, fuck.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah, pretty much. Although another thing on me was, of course, I'm a huge collectathon moron, more or less. Yeah, I'm crazy. So there is collectibles in each level you can collect, and I forget what they call the collectibles. I think it's just triangles or just bits. And these bits are all spread out through all the levels, and they're used for your checkpoints. Now, just like any good indie game, the checkpoints are optional. So you can collect these bits, you use them in the checkpoints, and you can restart from there and keep going with the level. For me, I was like, wait, I bet there's achievements for collecting the bits and not spending them at all. So I went through like at least the first 3 worlds just trying to get all the bits, get good at the platforming, get good at like not dying as hard. You get through the levels and collecting all the bits. And I was pretty decent at it. And I was actually, like, I guess more competent than most people when they're first try through. And that's usually the case with me of playing video games, is like, I'm actually better than most people somehow.
You're good at games somehow because you're...
Yeah, I'm good at games. I don't know why. Like, it's kind of weird, because I literally, if you team me up with someone else and challenge me on something that's brand new to the both of us, I would catch on quickly, more faster than someone else, than the other guy who was playing with me, which is, I guess I have a special ability just ingrained in my body, I guess. Just, I can capture, get the idea of a game way faster than anyone else, which is weird. But anyway, I was like, I got all this bits and everything. And the funny thing about when you get the bits is that it starts you all the way back to the beginning of the level. But it does throw you a bone of like, hey, you got all these bits. You don't have to go and collect these bits again because you just keep them forever. So it's like, fuck yeah, I don't have to go and get these bits anymore, but you still have to dodge all the checkpoints to get towards the end. So it's a nice little trade-off there of like, okay, make sure you don't touch the checkpoints and just get to the end. And yeah, so basically, yeah, it's just like, it's a really good game. I would say I would recommend it if you're like just wanting something a little different from a Super Meat Boy-esque platforming game. It's just, I have to say that, like, because this game, I think this game is from a Danish or a not Swedish. What's .de? Isn't that like
Danish?
Germany or
pretty sure that's Danish.
Swedish or Germany?
Hold on.
Or is that Danish?
What is it? .ee?
Yeah, it's .de, yeah. Because what's the Black Pants Studios, their website is like, go here for more info.
Federal Republic of Germany. So they're German.
Germany. Okay, so they're a German group, and because like I would recommend this for Super Meat Boy fans, but at the same time, there is difficulty spikes. There's no gradual upward, gradualness going upward of difficulty. It spikes in like a couple of levels because you have to do some tricky flipping back and forth, and then some other levels are like, oh, this is retarded easy because all you have to do is just run forward and jump. It's a bit back and forth, and yeah, so it's basically, if you like Super Meat Boy, you should like on Rusty Trails. Just watch out for the spikes. That's my full review. 10 out of 10.
That's your full review. You like it a lot.
Yeah, like the art aesthetic is good. The Black Pants Studios have this like indie art comic book style to everything, so I kind of dig it. So I'm like, yeah, I like this shit. It's like fucking weird art indie shit. Yeah.
And how? Anyways, so you like it? It was a good game. You enjoyed it?
Oh,
you
yeah.
would play it again?
I like it.
Would you recommend it to people?
Yeah, I said I would recommend it to Super Meat Boy fans, basically, if you just want something different in the same style. And that's about it. Like if you're like a new person and want to play something weird, sure, go ahead. But it's gonna be weirdly hard.
That's cool.
Yep.
Anyways, we have another question. We have another topic. Josh, I've been playing Witcher 3.
And how much of your life have you spent?
About like 2 hours. So this is like a general like first impression more than anything else.
I see.
I am going to sit there and say that this game I had a digital disc-based copy of.
Okay.
And oh my god, it could be so much worse than it was. I don't understand why people don't. Let me rephrase that. I don't understand why people attack it so much. There is a lot of interesting things in it, and by attack I mean like politically attack it. But it seems like a game that it seems like another CD Projekt Red joint. So it's really cool and stuff like that. If you like RPGs and especially dark fantasy, it's definitely on the other side of the boat.
I mean, there's been rumors kind of swirling around saying that they've kind of working their people to death on that shit, but I mean, not
shows.
Every studio does that. Yeah, it kind of shows in that game, though.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like as for rumors say, like go for like, oh, people are falling over dead trying to make that shit. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. So how far did you get anyways?
I'm like still in the first act, so
okay.
This is going to be like an update like every 3 weeks. You guys are going to get a new update being like, Jeff did this week. Oh.
Yep. And
we're
gonna get updates on that.
Too.
Yeah, and we're gonna also get updates on like you do that, and then I'm always gonna be like, have you had sex on the horse yet? Have you had sex on the horse yet? You have sex on the horse yet?
That's going to be a great day.
I mean, through osmosis, because Twitter and internet in general is always between like
you need to have sex on the horse.
Yeah, like what was the main character's name? I forget his name. Geralt. Geralt. Yeah, so Geralt is like basically the most things I've heard about Geralt is fucking having sex on the horse, killing like bandits after you just murdered some giant demon thing, and then what's another one? Bandits, giant murder thing, and I can't remember. Probably just more sex. Just more and more sex. And that's about it for general internet osmosis of the game. Oh, and then bathtub scene or something. No, like the main character in the bathtub.
Yeah, and then a monster gets sent in, and he's like, "Oh, I don't like you doing that very much." It was.
Is that really his demeanor the entire time?
We're like, I really didn't like you doing that much. It sounds like Garrett of Rivia sounds like to me like an off-brand like Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 4. Because he's like I really didn't like you doing that much, and it's like, oh, okay, like this is pretty cool. Like he's very good. Like he's a well-written character, and I like him a lot more than kept you waiting, huh?
Kept you waiting, huh?
Kept you waiting, huh? And then you're like, oh, David Hayter knockoff. Not as good as everyone thought he was. But that being said, it was still very good. I'm going to play more of it.
I sure hope so, because like the game looks great and it looks kind of neat.
Yeah. Josh, do you have another topic for the team?
I don't know.
We could talk about an obese couple that makes a 3-story fall after floor collapses during sags.
How did the man? They must have.
There was a lot of fucking
elephants.
going on.
There must be elephants.
They were 640 pounds and 450 pounds, respectively.
So one huge elephant.
Yep.
Like, oh boy.
Yep.
Causing the couple to fall 3 stories lower.
Where they did.
Well, maybe the motions of going back and forth is not meant for that type of house structure type of thing, you know?
Pretty much. I'm just amazed. Like, how would you even get it up?
I mean, you can still get it up. It's just inserting it would be a challenge.
I mean,
is it in?
Yeah,
Is it in?
Be.
Is it in? Is it in?
Oh, yes, it's in. Oh, okay. Other news. This is also there.
Oh, God.
Okay. So can we talk about King?
Yes.
Go ahead.
That update for what's the Final Fantasy? What number is it at now? 15?
It's 15. It's coming out on PC, Josh.
Oh,
and
God.
It's going to be glorious.
I'm surprised that they just threw Gordon Freeman in there.
No, that is you get the Half-Life pack when you purchase.
Yeah, like you can straight up just look like Gordon Freeman.
I mean, would you not want to look like Gordon Freeman?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like I would
Who
think
would
it'd be.
not want to be
I don't
Gordon
know.
Freeman, Josh?
Yeah, but the action in this game is so out there that I wouldn't fit this with Gordon Freeman.
What are you saying?
I'm saying I picture Gordon Freeman being more of the Duke Nukem scenario of like he just runs around with 30 different guns all at once and just circle strafes to shit out of people while shooting them with a whole lot of garbage.
Well, stop making sense, man.
But at the same time, it's like I would think that they would just give the main character the Half-Life suit. That would make more sense, and then just keep his, he'd be wearing the suit and be like, man, this suit's really high tech, and make, I don't know, cheesy references to the franchise or something, and then he will get the crowbar and be like, this is the most inefficient weapon. Who would use this?
Would you really give Noctis, an insufferable bastard, the HVAC suit?
I mean, like, if it'd be kind of neat if it was like some weird lore reason of like how he got the suit in the first place.
Okay,
and
so
like
Gordon Freeman is flying a spaceship through time and space and causality. Alex has left him with the G-Man, and the G-Man basically gave him 2 double fingers. And Gordon Freeman crashes on a strange new alien world.
I mean, that's kind of close.
I mean, Josh, that is
I just the more I stare at this, the more I'm like, wow, they went there. They really went there.
I totally did.
I mean, not as surprising as the what was it that BlazBlue fighter coming out with Ruby characters.
Oh yeah, that's all DLC.
Although a lot of people are making or kind of cheesed off like 50% of the game is fucking DLC, and the other was apparently like the percentages of characters of the reference from other fighting games are like 20%, 20%, 20%, then BlazBlue 75. It's like, that's not how you do a fucking crossfighter here. Like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. You're right. You're right. That's not how you do a crossfighter.
No, it's like you try to make it even pie as possible, but it's like, no, they decided to, yeah, we got like 6 of these characters from like 5 different places. Oh no, well, that'll be kind of lacking if we only have like just one of our characters, and we have like 8 characters. Well, we could just
let's put 27 in there.
Let's put 27 of our characters in there. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Mm-hmm. Like, fuck. I guess the more and more as this type of shit happens, the more and more is just evident of wait, it'll get better. Wait, and it'll get cheaper. And wait, you will get the fucking Game of the Year edition eventually. Or at least get it when it's on sale, because fuck that. Still, Gordon Freeman looks sexy. With his glasses and his crowbar and rippling biceps. And Jeff's not talking to me. Because he's like, I got parents in my household that want me to do things. And I'm like, whatever. I'm not doing it. Fuck. So I've been trying to find metal
Sorry, I left for
covers.
5 seconds. What were you saying?
Oh. So I don't know. I was just talking about how you should just wait for basically wait for fighting games because they always get better with time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah. I just get the games on sale and then play them later down the line, basically.
Yeah. I'm really happy. Yeah. Anyways, today is the 1 year ago launch of Ryzen.
Launch of Horizon.
AMD
Oh,
Ryzen.
is that the one exploded, or is that the other one I'm thinking?
Ryzen is a processor.
Is it what?
Processor. AMD Ryzen.
Oh.
You're out of it.
A little bit. I mean, when you said Ryzen, I was thinking of the spaceship Horizon, so I kind of misheard.
Mm-hmm. Sure you were. You were totally out of it. Totally out.
I mean, I'm not like I'm high or anything.
No, Josh, you're like... Josh, if you got high, I would be surprised, but I would want to see it. I would want to see the train wreck, if I'm honest.
You'd be like, I can't tell the difference. Neither can I.
No, because the train wreck would probably be like you basically laying there, be like, "What way is up?" and stuff like that. Like, you would probably be more happy than you already are, which would put you in a state of death.
No.
Like we would take you to the doctor. The doctor said, "This man's too high on happiness. We must give him 15 cc of sadness."
Put me in front of a movie that's super sad.
Put you in front of Twilight and then watch no, wait.
No, Twilight's not sad. Twilight would just make me go like,
put you in front of 50 Shades of Grey.
That movie's even worse.
just like, okay, Josh, we're gonna leave you in this room now with this bag of Cheetos and this bag of pretzels and all of the water in the world. And then we casually walk out of the room and it's like, okay, guys, we have to put on our glasses now. And then we just watch the tear life straying out from your eyes as you watch 50 Shades of Grey. Or we could just make you watch Logan, and that would actually be probably a movie that you would probably cry your soul out.
No, I've seen Logan, and yeah, I was like, I'm wondering how they're gonna show Logan out the door. Oh, just murder him on the spot, and he's poisoned from the inside out. Okay.
Yeah. And then you're like sitting there being like, that's not kosher.
Yep.
Like,
exactly.
That wasn't kosher of them.
Oh.
In other news, I'm thinking about adding George. So we should probably talk about something else. Kingdom Come Deliverance, the other game I played this week. That is different.
So is it Morrowind, the game, but better?
It is everything but better. It is, to put it bluntly, you can tell the difference between it and a Bethesda game. And it's a lot better than a Bethesda game. And the guy Henry is an idiot. It is totally one of those games that, like, I could see PC gamers flaunting over, and it's going to get better with time, I feel. The main thing I think that is the worst part about it is that while the gameplay is great, I think that the main issue I'm going to have with it, and the main issue a lot of people are going to have with it, is there was a lot of gameplay bugs, and there's a lot of smaller issues, such as animation glitches and stuff like that. However, I like the setup of the game, and I like that it's grounded in reality. It feels a lot better than most AAA games where they're like, magic exists in this world. And I think that's...
You're like...
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to say, like, well, if magic exists in the world, then it's like, well, okay.
I'll just be a mage and murder everything. Why can't I just, murder everything with a knife? And then use their blood as, like, a fuel for my, like, internal machine of chaos and death and destruction.
Yep. Or, frickin', what's the joke that everyone makes with Skyrim is... You have, one-handed is all the way up there to 100. Your shield is all the way up there to 100. Your heavy armor is all the way up there to 100. Then it's like versus your fucking thieving, your looting, your pickpocketing is at 100, and your bow and arrow is over at 100. Over 100, it's like, oh, that one's winning out because you want to play this game like a first-person shooter all the time.
Yep. Wait, did they make Toxic free? They did make Toxic free. Huh, that's cool.
Toxic?
Oh, okay. Hold on.
So, that game has a lot of bugs.
That game I really didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
When it came out.
Is it... I mean, would you... A similarity is that of Skyrim and shit like that. Like, is it pretty much the same, or is it more realism?
I would say it's a lot more realistic.
Okay.
It's... The combat, I think, is the big difference between the two of them.
I've heard is different.
Yeah. The one thing I would say is that I personally appreciate more about it is that it does a lot of little things better. So, like, when you, like, boot up a game and stuff like that, they're like, it doesn't feel terrible. That's what I should say. Like, it feels like a game that really they put a lot of polish in, and it says something that the guy says, like, on how big it is, that, like, the guy feels that he needs to put more polish between it. That being said,
so it'll get better with time.
That being said, I do think it can get a lot better. Mainly one thing I think that it does poorly is I think it does a lot of little things worse. And like that's not even getting into like quest structure and stuff like that. Because I feel that like the questing structure in the game is very strong.
Uh-huh.
And I also feel like it does a lot of better things with certain little things. So like one of the main things I feel like it does a lot better than other games like it is the tutorial is literally like, hey, you can complete a quest in multiple different ways. So what I did was I literally started the game, and they're like, hey, like go get nails, pay your tab, get a guy to pay his tab off, and then get charcoal, and then what else was there? Get charcoal and get a tall glass of like ale for your dad. Okay.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I'll get the tall glass of ale and I'll get everything going. And so they're like, so what I did was I went to the guy first, and of course he didn't want to pay. So what I did was I immediately beat the shit out of him. And then he was like, don't ever come back here or I will call the police on you. And I go, okay, so this will be negative. Broke into his house, sneaked in, and then he goes like, he came in, I was literally standing right in the doorway, and he goes like, what are you doing here? Like, please leave. And he's like, okay, start walking out. I'm like, I know that he has a chest in there. Go to my mates. My mates are like, well, this guy's insulting our true king. Let's go throw dung at his house that has recently been whitewashed. That's not actually what they say. They say whitewash. So I'm like, okay, take dung, throw it on the house and stuff like that, participate in the fun. And then they're like, okay, now we'll help you beat the shit out of this guy. Okay.
Interesting.
So then what I did was I literally took all of the things and just like, we beat the crap out of him. He gave us a key. We opened his chest, take all of the items out of it, sold it, went to the charcoal burner, got charcoal, did everything I needed to do, go back up, and then they're like, okay, like, good things are happening, and then you get invaded. And you're like, huh.
Nice.
Oh. And then that's where the game kind of like ends the main tutorial and stuff like that. I still need to play more of it. I think that I'm in like the first like of many acts. But like you can bang prostitutes and stuff like that. So
100% real.
100%.
Can you get syphilis?
Yes.
Can you get syphilis?
That would be an awesome thing.
Just slowly die, and that's one of the secondary endings in the game or something. It's just slowly die syphilis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. I like everything about this.
Man, right now I'm just looking over all the cards that got spoiled as of late because they just dumped a whole fuck ton of commons and uncommons.
You like Magic?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And this new set coming out is called not Modern Masters. It's just Masters 25, and it's cards representing different sets for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this card is from the Scourge, not Scourge. I can't remember her name, but it's like this one from this set is pulled from this set because this card's unique at the time and it was used in draft a lot and blah blah blah. And this card's pulled from that one, so it's different cards for different sets got pulled out for each generation. And representative in this new booster box that's be coming out.
Is this the
and
swan song to the Magic? Are they just going to close down shop after this?
No, actually, because this is one of their like we have to hit this box out of the park or else we're kind of dead in the water type of things. I mean, they won't necessarily be dead in the water, but like that would they would have to like kind of readjust how in the fuck they're gonna carry on as a company, because as for right now, there's a lot of rumor floating around of like they're selling shit super hard so they make themselves look good to sell themselves off to some other company. So because Hasbro doesn't want them anymore, it is just kind of weird, and because it's just rumor of that's happening. But you look at their patterns of like what they've been doing, it's like this does fit the pattern of like they're trying to sell themselves off.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, but as of right now, like this new set that's coming out, the EV value for so far what they've spoiled is actually pretty high. Like expected value of like if I were to pull some shit out of this booster pack, what values where each card would be when I pull it out, and it turns out this, like, as for right now, is pretty high. Like the cards they've chosen and the cards they've decided to be like, yeah, this one and that one, it's pretty good actually. Because some commons and uncommons are like $5-7 sometimes, and they chose the right ones, because there's some cards are like these commons should not be $5-7 because it's common. Like this should be everywhere. Should be literally under your shoe, and they're like $5-7. It's like, it's dumb. So it's a good thing that some of these cards are getting reprinted.
Anyways,
there's a fuck ton of these cards. Oh.
Yeah. So, in other news, we have to talk about the politics and political side of Kingdom Come Deliverance.
What's the political side?
Games journalists are not covering it due to some things that the guy said.
Did he say that? What did he say? Did he say like
he
females?
supported Gamergate. People were attacking him because there's no ethnic minorities in the game. Companies studios are not reviewing them because of political disagreements and stuff like that.
Well, did he support Gamergate way back in the day, or did he support it way afterwards or something? Or is it just...
I honestly don't know. But I can give you my 2 cents on the opinion, and I believe, actually, I believe in the Collins Last Stand, it comes out that he supported Gamergate back in the day.
Because in the back in the day, it made sense, but nowadays it's just kind of morphed into this freaking horrible blob monster.
Well, no, I would say you have to flip the timelines around.
Oh.
Where it's like, back in the day, yeah, what people did back then in attacking Zoe Quinn and Nathan Grayson was completely just mishandling. It was a publication mishandling some stuff. Fair enough. Your reaction does not warrant the memes. And that, like, what I'm going to say is that, like, Gamergate's a very large group. And stuff like that. But they weren't organized, and they harassed a lot of people and stuff like that. And there was a lot of sort of... you could point to a bunch of bad actors and stuff like that. And that was... Those bad actors should be called out left, right, and center. But I'm not... It's kind of like a hard subject to talk about, because at the same time, if we sit there and say anything negative, they're the fans, they're the people that we have to kind of like look towards and stuff like that and say, like, we're making this product for you, right? So I don't understand why they sat there and said those things. I don't understand why the media thought that blowing everybody up and stuff like that would have been a good thing instead of doing their job. But fast forward to now, you have a Gator coming out with a game. It's a really good game. And people are not covering it due to political ideology.
Well, whatever. Do you think the game will get word of mouth?
And that's kind of what's been happening, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that when I say this, but, like, times have changed a lot. there have been some very bad things that have happened on both the left and the right. On the left, I can look towards Antifa preventing free speech, being generally authoritarian. On the right, I can look towards the Nazis invading stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In other news, Linus is talking about hopping on, so we'll have to resync. And then we'll probably talk a little bit more about this thing. But, like, my basic opinion is this. When you sign up for the job, you're not there in order to sit there and cater to one ideology.
Mm-hmm.
When you sign up for the job, what that means for you is it means that, above all else, you should give a game a fair review.
Yeah.
That is the reason why Giant Bomb earned my respect a long time ago, because Jeff Gerstmann was fired for giving a game a bad review. And then Jeff Gerstmann looked back at that game's sequel and gave it a fair review. And it's very disappointing to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that the media feels the need to treat this game, just on an ideological point of view.
I think, well, the media, but I think most of it is North American media, just kind of the way of dealing with things is like, you hate our opinion, you're fired.
How dare you have a differing opinion than us? Like, we have to...
How dare you not like this shitty game that we made, we put our hearts and efforts into, that we put for like 5 minutes? Fuck you, you're fired.
Well, that's not what's happening, though. It's like you don't have you have a negative opinion. Oh, you're fired.
Yeah, pretty much. You're fired. Yeah. How dare you say something that's true and that hurts our feelings? Fuck you, you're fired.
My feelings are more important than fact.
Yeah.
And, like, that's the thing, right? Is like...
I can't wait for all that to burn up. God.
Well, you're like the best person to talk about that because you're 100% correct.
Because it will blow up in your face so fucking hard. So hard. Because, like, if you're like, oh, my feelings are hurt, it's like, yeah, and it's not going to go away. So fucking deal with it. Like, God.
It's amazing because you're, like, the least mature person out of all of us, and I mean that in a good way.
Oh no, I'm both really mature and a fucking child at the same time.
Like I mean that in a good way. Like it's really funny to me because you're like the person who will, like, when you're serious, it's scary.
Because like I believe it or not, I put a lot of thought into a lot of shit. And when I do my shitty jokes, or when I'm just talking about like this goddamn bullshit that is the
internet,
people talking about internet and politics and whatever, and it's like it just boils down to like, hey, you know what? Maybe you should act like a fucking adult for once. Or maybe some maturity, because that will go a long way than this being like, oh, my feelings are hurt, fuck you, it's not my fault. It's like, no, it is your fault, fucking grow up.
Oh my God,
God.
It's really funny because, like, I have done that exact thing to you, where I'm like, my feelings are hurt, I'm so offended right now, oh my God, and then you're just like, you do that exact thing, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Like that's like the snap out point for me is like when you're like fucking in my face being like shut the fuck up. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I need to calm down, take a few steps away from the computer.
I'll just grab your.
It's going to be really funny when I have to do an interview and I have like an anxiety attack. And I'm just like, because I guarantee you're probably going to be the person who comes up to me and goes, put your fucking Bitcoin pants on. Here's a joint. Smoke it. You'll feel fine. And I'll be like,
No, the funny thing is, if you're doing an interview or something, and then I'll be like, well, let me walk in the room for a second, make everyone feel chill with my fucking dick jokes.
Make sure Jeff's not killing somebody.
I'll just fucking ball gag you, tie you up and throw you in a closet for a good 10 minutes.
It's sad because he would totally do that.
I probably would. I mean, I need like 2 other people to help me.
It's sad. He would probably do that.
I probably would.
It's really sad, listeners. If you're listening to this, it's very sad. So anyways, like, yeah, that's the thing I think is like the problem is like, and this is my opinion on the matter and stuff like that. This is the largest release probably of this month, probably of last month actually, more accurately. The fact that you're unable to put an ideology aside for 20 seconds, and not a good ideology, I might add. I might say every ideology is very stupid, to do your job, then maybe you should probably ask yourself if you're on the right side of, well, actually, no, not that, because I hate when people say that. You should ask yourself if you're doing the right thing. And if you can answer yourself of, I am doing this for ideological reasons, then maybe the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing this because my opinion is different than somebody else's, then the answer is no. You're not doing, if your opinion is, I don't like this game, but it's the largest release of the year and stuff like that, and we should cover it in at least some sense or form, then the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to sit there and write an article explaining to people how their opinion is wrong and stuff like that on the biggest release of the year, and all of your fans are sitting there saying, this is ridiculous, then the answer is no. If you do not want to support a movement because of this game's association with that movement, then maybe you're in the wrong industry. Because you're not supporting a movement, you're proving that movement right.
Mm-hmm.
That is my opinion on the matter, is what those people are doing is they're giving me reasons to not listen to them. And they're giving me reasons to not respect them as commentators and people I should listen to. And that being said, I think it's very important that, like, this is a game that somebody wanted to make. And that being said, because it's a game that somebody wanted to make, that doesn't give you a right in order to sit there and say that, well, because their opinion, I don't agree with their opinion, then there's nothing wrong with that opinion. The thing that you need to realize is, as a person, you can pick up a scripting language too. You can pick up a 3D modeling program and make that game too.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels really careless and crass, and how do I put it? Borderline nonsensical that they would do that. And that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you want to talk about something else?
No, because I think I've talked all I want to talk about this week.
You want to talk about Trump meeting with games executives?
Did that, like I said before, what input does he have, and did it go anywhere?
I don't think he has a lot of input on the matter. I think that what he is doing is, I think he wants to talk to executives because I think he thinks video games are part of a problem.
What problem?
That's a good question.
Like, fuck's sake.
I think that he thinks video games are violent. Video games promote violence.
Like, if anything, they tested this shit and they said no repeatedly.
I mean, Josh, how often do you want to go up and shoot up a school because you play violent video games like Doom?
Fucking. Again, I really wish another plague would happen. Just so Trump will die.
I mean, the world's a scary place right now. China's bringing back what is it? What are they bringing back? And it's very scary. Dictatorships.
A little bit.
Yep.
A little
the world's
bit.
A little scary place, but
It's like, look, we don't have any problems, but yeah, but your Tiananmen Square.
Didn't Tiananmen Square happen here because of Mao? Well, that wasn't his fault. That's kind of a communist dictatorship fault, though, don't you think?
Fucking, well, have you ever saw that news release of that thing that what was it, the tanks rolled over people and made them into a quote unquote pie?
Yeah.
Like, fucking horrifying.
It's funny to me because like people are they're saying like this is a good thing, and it's like the history does not show that that is a good thing. On top of that, China has a really bad history of censorship. So like it would come out in like the Western world, and we would all be like, "Holy shit! Like this is terrible." And then the people in China would be like, "What? What happened? I don't know what happened."
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, the leader did something great, and it's like, no.
Or freaking, I remember a time a friend of mine was talking to. Where we're just talking about like, oh, weird people you've met and like from different places, like where they're from in the world. And he said, yeah, I was talking to someone who was from China, and he was like, yeah, I was, talking about China stuff and whatever. And it's like, yeah, that Tiananmen Square thing was really fucked up. And the guy's like, what do you mean? He's like, you don't know about Tiananmen Square? And he's like, no. And he showed him all these news clippings, like all this news stuff from the internet and stuff from Tiananmen Square. And he's like, it just blew his fucking mind.
Scary, right?
And it's like,
it's funny because like funny because that was considered the great leap forward.
Yeah, so it's like he showed a Chinese guy who like never heard of this thing, like all this new stuff that fucking happened, and he's blew his fucking mind to the point of like, I don't think it went back to China. Like
he immediately tried to become a Canadian citizen.
I think I don't know the full story, but it's like he blew his fucking mind, and he's just telling me the story, and he's like, I'm not sure what the hell happened to him now, but I'm pretty sure he's somewhere in Canada still. Like, somewhere.
Don't send me back!
Yeah, pretty much.
I refuse to go back to that dictatorship. Sir, there's democracy there now. Man, it would suck if he came back. Anyways, we have to also mention something else. Because let's get back on topic. Because this is
what topic?
This is a good podcast. I think that what Trump talking to video game execs is a good thing, because you know what, it would be really interesting if
he's could be so outclassed by other smarter people.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate here because I think that it's going to be. I'm trying to play. I'm trying to think of positive things, and I really can't. Like. That's the thing.
I think all that's going to happen is that he's going to be so outclassed by other smarter people in the room to the point of like he'd be so intimidated to not walk back in again.
What do you mean that No, this is what I picture happening. Is Donald Trump enters the room, and it's going to be the EA CEO and Bobby Kotick, and they're going to be sitting there being like, welcome, Mr. Trump. And then he sits down at the table and he's like, gentlemen, we have a problem with video games and violence. And he's like we need to set up a rating system. And Bobby Kotick looks at the ACO and he goes, should we tell him? And he goes, and Trump goes, tell me what? And they go, well, sir, there's this program called the ESRB. Now, EACO, please prepare the slideshow. EACO gets up, grabs the slideshow thing, opens up and stuff like that, and goes like preparing the slideshow, Bobby Kotick. And Bobby goes, now. And then Bobby goes through all of the rating systems and stuff like that. And Trump goes, oh, that's great. We should put government legislation behind it. That is the worst case scenario. Or that is the best case scenario I can see coming out of this thing. Because the problem with right now in the States is that, like, it is very easy to get an M-rated game. It is.
Yeah.
It is, but that's a parenting issue.
Very much. I mean, for a lot of the fucking bullshit in the States, it just really boils down to like
boils down to
people
the
don't want to
culture.
to the culture. People don't want to do responsibility.
Yeah.
It's all about me for half of it.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot more better people there. But for fuck's sake, a lot of it is just like, how could you be this in a how to be so fucking all about yourself and immigrant.
Integral.
No,
In.
in
Explain the difference. Ignorant.
Yeah, there we go.
God damn it, Josh.
Fuck. But anyways, like, how could it be so ignorant? Fuck, I can't say the word.
Ignorant.
Ignorant.
Rent.
Ignorant.
Yeah. Ignorant.
There. Yes. So it was like they're super ignorant of responsibility for the most part, and it's like how are you gonna get step forward in any ways, any facet, if you're just gonna not do anything? Because you don't. You really don't. You're just gonna sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like, yeah, it's not my problem. Well, it's still your problem.
It's kind of your problem. It's kind of an issue. I mean, I think that you know what the best part about this thing is that all of the people were calling for video game companies to censor themselves like 2014, 2016, and 2015, 2016, and 2017 are now going like, well, Trump should not be involved in video games and stuff like that, and trying to be super progressive and stuff like that. And it's like, It's very hypocritical of you, I would say. Are you just doing this because your opinion has changed, or are you doing this because Donald Trump is saying that he wants to talk to video game execs? I personally think it's latter.
I'm not even sure which video game exec would even give him a freaking 5 minutes to listen.
Imagine, man. Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, who would actually want to sit in a room with that asshole? Like, I don't think anyone would.
It's kind of like one of those things where, like, it's disappointing from that sense of the word, because Trump is, an asshole through and through. I don't know. I think that's very scary, and I think that's also very funny that, like, of all of the things that could happen and stuff like that, like, it is so funny to me that, like, this is, like, the thing that people were, like, saying they're agreeing on and stuff like that. It's like, no, Trump did nothing. Trump's completely right. Like, you would expect those people to sit there and go, like, no, Trump's completely right. And instead they're saying, being like, no, video games aren't violent. Video games aren't the reason for the shooting. And it's like, I don't know what side you're on.
Yeah.
That being said,
just they need more and more.
How many more studies?
Like better, better. Like, was it social security and
regulation?
I don't know, just like healthcare, and
I think what they need
maybe video games could be the right method of, like, hey, you have a mental illness. Oh no, maybe we can. Maybe this could be different and better in some way. We could fix this problem, and that's the video game. And then people play this video game, and they're like, "Oh man, mental illness is so bad. Maybe we can help fix this mental illness problem." And it'll just create another generation of people be like, "We should fucking tackle this mental illness issue. That'd be great."
This is the thing that I always kind of thought Depression Quest was really good at and stuff like that. Is like, Depression Quest was like, hey, like, if you put a talented dev team behind it and stuff like that, and just had said, Zoe, you can sit in the corner now and do nothing. Literally nothing.
Yeah, freaking tell that to David Cage.
Like, you could make an actual good game about it and stuff like that.
Yeah, or freaking when David Cage makes a game, it's like, you have inklings of really good things here, but then you just have no idea how to make a video game, so you're like, fuck it, I make movies out of them.
Yeah. It's kind of stuff like that. I don't know. Part of my issue is that, like, I think that, like, Trump doing this is, you know what? At least he's trying something.
I guess.
I mean, it's better than some people right now who, like, it's better than some things that could happen, I propose, and stuff like that. And that's the thing is, like, I think he wants to solve the problem. I don't think he wants it to continue, which is noble for a president. But that being said, I feel like the president owes a lot of thanks to a lot of different people. And I feel like it's kind of wrong for me to sit there and say that what some of these people are saying is wrong and stuff like that, because what they're saying is they're basically being hypocrites because Trump is the almighty father. And he hasn't, and there's nothing, like, I hope to God Trump doesn't attack video games because of their violence and stuff like that. I think that that's far more dirty and dangerous than he has any idea to. But I also think that, like, if he did that, that would probably damage a large portion of the industry in a negative way. And yeah.
Well, freaking the loot box. Was it the
loot box controversy? That's complete bullshit.
Yeah, well,
like, let's
the funny
make
thing
a game
is that
where, like, basically, you have to spend $600 to get anything good, and it's all power based and stuff like that. And it's like, go ahead.
Yeah, for like, I mean, I was gonna say is like the loot box fiasco of, like, the government is going to step in and it's going to make it way worse because their definition and their wording of this rule goes all so far into games to the point of, like, you can't play an RPG anymore because that's theoretically loot boxing.
You cannot have loot tables. What?
Yeah, straight up, you can't have loot tables, so RPGs are dead.
Yep.
So it's like,
okay, let's just rephrase that. It's not dead. It's just going to be harder.
Boring as shit. It could be boring as shit.
Yeah. I know exactly what I'm getting from this monster if I kill it.
Yeah, exactly. And fucking, like, basically, the government stepping in for these loot box thing, it should happen because loot boxes are just preying upon basically what humans, like, the human's mind for getting achievement from something. Because that's basically all they're doing. That's what a loot box is. Of, like,
yeah,
you get some worth, you feel a little bit better about yourself, and you keep doing it over and over.
Yeah, it's the Skinner box.
Yeah, the Skinner box scenario.
Does it quite well.
So does Tim Hortons. It sure does. Tim Hortons is worse because I freaking get it because I get it. I like the drinks, even though a lot of people don't like it. But I'm like, well, I mix it with regular coffee and it's fine.
You're talking about Tim Hortons coffee? I like Tim Hortons coffee. I don't.
Although the funny thing is, though, is, like, I don't get regular coffee. I get French vanillas usually.
Oh, you're that kind of guy.
Yeah, I'm that loser.
You're the person who's like, oh, like, gotta be so, like.
It has to be covered in sugar, please.
Yes.
I like some 6 inches of whipped cream.
Fancy. Much fancier.
I like my French vanilla with 6 inches of whipped cream and chocolate shavings, 2 inches, and
Josh,
some caramel as well.
Josh, you're like the person I hate who sits there and goes like. Whenever I go to Starbucks, I always have to encounter these people where they're like, I would like my coffee with, like, 2 cream, 1 sugar, and, like, sprinkles on top, and, like, a whole top of flow, and skim milk, no cream, and it's like, oh my god, it's a fucking coffee.
Yeah, I like my.
Stop making it like rocket science, you fuck. How fucking dare you?
No foam, half foam.
I would like 50% cream, like, not sugar. And it's like, hey. And then you get me, and it's like I would like a venti chai tea latte. That's it. And they're like,
yeah.
They're like, really? That's it? I'm like, yes, that's it.
I like chai lattes too, although I get it in almond milk form.
To be fair, like, the reason, like, I'm simple, like, I will go to a Tim Hortons and I will say my order, and they will frequently fuck it up though. And I'm like, how hard is it in order to go a double and take away one of the sugars?
Freaking one of my orders I get fucked up constantly is I go to the McDonald's and they have the new egg BLT. And so the egg BLT is, egg and lettuce and tomato and mayo usually, and it's a good sandwich. I like it. And it's like, oh hey, I asked them, could you add a patty, sausage patty in that fucking thing? Because I'm like, yeah, I like the sausage patty and whatever. But seems like every other time I order that with a sausage patty, they either forget the egg layer or forget something else entirely in that fucking sandwich. It's like how. It's like, how in the fucking hell do you fuck this up so fucking hard every fucking time?
They don't understand that they need nipples. They need to. They're just sitting there in the back rubbing their nipples as they hear your rage. They're like, oh yes, oh. The fat ass.
Because basically, yeah, they rip off the nipple tassels and are just rubbing their nips.
Oh.
But fucking, but the only thing that runs in my head every time that they fuck it up is basically they look at the order and they see the add patty and they're like, what? I don't. Oh god, fuck. Okay, well, I know what the BLT means. So bacon, lettuce, tomato. Okay, so patty. Okay, patty's in there. Okay. Put an egg. What is that? What's egg? Just slap it together. Slap it together. Ship it. Whatever. Slap it together.
Fix it in post.
Pretty much.
Fix it in post. God damn it.
Oh fuck. It sucks because most of the time I get my food through drive-thru, so it's kind of roulette wheel of are you gonna make it properly or are you not gonna make it properly?
See, this is
fuck.
This is stuff that me and you would totally get antics in.
Oh,
this is waiting. This is waiting for us to be sitting. We should do that. Go through a drive-thru, and then we're just sitting there being when we go to the drive-thru, just sitting there being open up the sandwich and be like, oh, you made it wrong. You made my sandwich wrong. How could you do that? How could you? That's how I
mean, to be fair, most of the time it's well, I'll eat a mistake burger because it's still a burger, but at the same time, it's this is not what I wanted. Come on.
Yeah, it's kind of the shitty part about it. Anyways, I'm adding nipple bones to my model right now. So yeah, it's going to have nipple bones. So it's going to his nips are going to raise and lower. We're going to be able to move them individually based on the nipple neatness. So, I think that's a podcast, eh?
I think so.
This is the Jeff and Josh show. So.
Oh god damn it! I just rolled my rim and I got nothing.
Skinner box.
Skinner box. Actually, no, this is the worst Skinner box. It doesn't give you anything. It's you get the drink, but then you roll up the rim going, I hope I get a coffee, nothing. Hope I get a coffee, nothing. Hope I get a coffee, donut. Who fucking wants this?
That's my favorite part is 90% of my winnings this year have been donut, coffee.
I never get the coffee. It's either donut or nothing.
Or the best one. The best one is 1 year I rolled it up, and I'm like, this is gonna be cart roll it up. It was something else entirely, and I'm sitting there going, fuck, god fucking damn it. But basically, you get a $2.20 drink for free. So how can I care? Anyways.
Yeah.
Thank you listening to the Black Mind podcast, the return of the Jeff and Josh show. Hopefully next week we have more interesting topics to talk about, if you catch my drift.
No.
No.
I don't catch your drift.
No. Maybe Alan will be back so we can bitch at him.
Maybe.
And he can be talking about his opinions on the budget and stuff like that.
Never leave, Alan. Never leave.
Alan and Rory are two of our favorite hosts. Anyways, good night. Thank you for listening to us. You can listen to us on Podbean every Thursday. You can also listen to us on iTunes or review us on iTunes. We're probably going to get banned soon. You can also watch us on the platform that recently has been sassing people, known as YouTube. If you're doing that, please know that if you prompt the beast, it will come after you, and eventually you will have a coat hanger shoved up your nose. I think that's how the saying goes. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. Oh boy.